Hey Gen Zs, welcome to EFH, Education from Home, where we teach computer science for grades 9 to 12 and build the next generation of digital minds. We are starting with ICSE students, and guiding you through it all is our expert teacher, Mrs. Yogita Kumar, with over 20 years of experience making tough concepts simple. At EFH, you have the flexibility to take the entire course or just the modules where you feel stuck. Each class is split into modules, which in turn is divided into bite sized sessions with 30 to 40 minutes slideboard video lessons, giving you that real classroom feel right at home. And we have packed it with features to help you succeed, like quizzes after assigned sessions, assignments to apply what you have learned after designated sessions, group sessions to learn with others, and one-on-one sessions with Mrs. Yogita Kumar. Just book your calendar. It's that easy. You have also access to personalized dashboard. Track your scores, see your strengths, and work on the areas that need improvement, all in one place. And now, here's a demo of Yogita Kumar teaching combined with technology. See how decades of experience, smart teaching, and innovative tools come together to make concepts crystal clear like never before. This is more than just learning. This is EFH. Let's build your digital futures starting today.
Over here, we start our for loop for int I equal to from which value? Minimum value, first change. Here it was maximum value, here it is minimum value. Till what? Till I is greater than 0. Only greater than 0. If you are writing 1, then it would be greater than equal to 1. And here the value of I will be decremented over here. And if condition is flipped, that is if n1 modulus I equal to 0 and n2 modulus I is equal to 0. In that scenario, we say HCF equal to I, and again we break out of the loop and we close the if, we close for, and outside we print SOPLN HCF equal to. Message given, variable storing HCF is HCF, main closes, class closes. Now let's try to understand the working with the very first example. So N1 value is what? 5, N2 value is what? 7. Minimum is going to store what? Minimum is going to store a value of what? 5. Between 5 and 7, mat.min n1 comma n2 min is going to store a value of 5. So our loop of I start from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? It goes till greater than 0 and I is being decremented. Now over here we have a condition n1 modulus I should be 0 and n2 modulus I should also be 0. So if I say 5 mod 5 over here, 5 mod 5, this is 0. But over here 7 modulus 5 is not 0. Thereafter 5 mod 4 is not 0, whereas 7 mod 4 is also not 0. 5 mod 3 is not 0. Over here it is n2 is 7, modulus 3 is also not 0. Then we have again n1, 5 modulus 2 is not 0, 7 modulus 2 is not 0. Now n1 value is 5. When you divide 5 by 1, remainder is what? 0. Remainder is what? 0. And similarly, when you divide 7 by 1, again remainder is what? 0. So in both these condition, remainder is 0, and hence we go inside the if condition block. HCF stores a value of 1, break takes the control outside and print HCF as what? 1. So this is how the working of these two questions is being done. After this, we will be moving on to the while loop construct and understand how the while loop functions. See you in the next class. Bye-bye. So now let's try to do few questions related with the bubble sort code. Now looking at few questions for the bubble sort technique. So the first question, we have a char data type of array and we have to sort the array using the bubble sort technique. Now in this question there is a slight variation. We have to print the original array as well as the array which has been sorted. So if you could recall, this is the third declaration. We will not have a for loop for input. But because we have to print the original array, I am giving the message SOP-ln original array. And to print it, we use a for loop. So for int I equal to 0 till array length I less than. Over here, yes, array length. We will increment the value of I by 1. Yes, what would be the statement in the body? We have to print it, so I am printing it in the same line. So I'm using system.out.print round bracket begin. Over here, I'm writing ARR square bracket I. Over here, plus 1 space so that we can maintain a space between two values. Now, similarly, once the array is sorted, you have to print the sorted array. So again, over here, I'm putting in the message system.out.println over here. Thereafter, I'm writing sorted array. So if you want, you can use the escape sequence \n so that things are printed on a new line. So sorted array. The message has been printed. Once the message of sorted array is printed, again we start with the for loop for int I equal to 0, I less than ARR dot length semicolon I plus plus over here, and again I print SOP system.out.println SOP ARR square bracket I plus 1 space to maintain gap between the two character values. Thereafter, my main clauses and my class clauses over here. Now, our in-between block is being left out. So, the first for loop is I. So, over here, I am writing for int I equal to 0, semicolon I less than ARR dot length I plus plus over here, curly braces begin over here. For loop for int j, always it will be j less than ARR dot, yes, the formula 1 iteration less, array length minus I minus 1, array length minus I minus 1 and j plus plus. Put in the condition. So condition is if array at j greater than array at j plus 1. So if ARR j greater than ARR over here j plus 1. In that particular scenario, we have to swap in the value. To swap, we take t is the temporary variable. Now, since over here array is char data type, I will just remember array and temporary variable will be of same data type. So, I declare it char t over here equal to ARR square bracket j. Now, this will come on the next line, ARR square bracket j. introduce the third variable, that is j plus 1, array at subscript j plus 1, array at subscript j plus 1 equal to t, we have interchange. If closes, thereafter j loop closes, thereafter I loop closes, 3 curly braces closes, printing of the sorted array, and the program is over. Now, coming to the difference between the OR gate and the NOR gate. So this is my OR gate and this is my NOR gate, not of OR gate. Okay? So OR gate symbol is what? This is my OR gate symbol. So this is what? X plus Y output. We generate two inputs, X and Y over here. NOR gate over here, if you see, OR gate, we put our Notinka symbol over here, output X plus Y whole bar. Again, two inputs, that is X and Y over here. Now, when you see the ORing, okay, so I'm drawing the OR gate for OR gate truth table. So, truth table for OR and NOR gate, okay. So, X and Y, two inputs, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. X plus Y, this would be what? 0, 1, 1, 1. So, what are we going to say? If any one of the inputs is high, output generated is what? High. 1 means high, 0 means low. So, if any one input is high, output generated is high. Instead of high, you can replace it by the zeros and ones. Okay, over here. Now, over here, not of OR gate. This will become what? 1, and rest over here all will become what? 0. So, if any one of the inputs, if any one of the input is what? High, answer generated is what? Low. So, it becomes reverse. If any one input is high, output generated is low over here. Welcome back. Let's begin another session for recursion. In today's session, first of all, we will be discussing about the conversion. So in class 11th, we have learned converting decimal number to binary number, octal number, and hexadecimal number. In today's session, we are going to see how we can write a code to do the same using the concept of recursion. So the first thing that we will be looking at is we will be converting a decimal number to the binary format. So decimal number, supposedly our decimal number is 7. So its binary format is what? 111. Just to recall, how do we do this? We keep on dividing 7. 7 is being divided by 2 and keep on keeping the remainder part. So it goes 3 times, remainder is 1. So this is my remainder. Then again you divide it by 2. Again we get it goes 1 time, remainder is 1. Again we divide it by 2. When we get a 0, we stop and the remainder over here is 1. From down to up, we put in the numbers, so we get what? 1, 1, 1. 0 doesn't have any value over here. So let's try to convert this format into what? Into a recursive function. So we have a recursive function public, int, It's going to return what? Binary value, which is going to be of what data type? INT data type. So public INT decimal to binary, and I'm receiving what? INT DN stands for the decimal number. So I receive a decimal number and I keep on dividing it by 2 till what point? Till the number becomes what? 0. So over here we put the condition if number is, that is your decimal number is equal to 0. In that scenario, I return a value of 0. Else, otherwise, over here, I write return. Now, I'm calling the function again. First of all, we'll call the function. Function name is decimal to binary. And we divide the number by 2. We multiply it by 10 because every time from down to up when we go, the place value keeps on increasing by 1. Plus over here, decimal number modulus 2. So this is my command, and thereafter I'm closing the function. Now let's try to do a dry run for this particular part. So over here, I'm going to call decimal to binary. This function calling statement would be what? I'm calling it with a value of 7 so that you could understand. Answer would be stored in binary number. So int bn has been declared and bn equal to the calling statement. Now let's try to do a dry run over here. So decimal number that I receive in the function is what? 7. Is 7 equal to 0? No. I write the return statement. Return decimal to binary. Over here, decimal number divided by 2 multiplied by 10 plus decimal number modulus 2 over here. So this is my return statement. Return decimal to binary. 7 divided by 2. 7 divided by 2 will be equal to what? 3. Since both are integer value, multiplied by 10 plus remainder would be what? 1 over here. The function is called again. We receive what value? 3. So this would be again return decimal to binary. Over here 3 divided by 2 is what? 1 multiplied by 10 plus 3 modulus 2. Again we get a value of 1 over here.